XRP ushers in the golden age. The historical ruling that we got from Judge Torres that XRP in and of itself is not a security on July 13th, 2023 is now setting the precedent for the rest of the space. And we knew it would back then. Now it's being revealed for the masses to see and get caught up to speed on just what XRP has as far as a competitive advantage, also being backed by a company, Ripple, that has been spearheading development within our ecosystem. And I think that we have some big announcements coming up here at XRP Las Vegas, along with the Joey wallet about to go live, our XRP DeFi ecosystem about to expand. But Ripple's been holding the hands of these institutions and incumbents that needed a little bit help getting on board here to DLT technology. But what we're looking at right now is Ripple, along with XRP, still defending the rest of the industry, trying to make sure that everybody has a chance on that level playing field, but setting the standard as far as ushering in the golden age of a level playing field, of sound money. How do you tokenize God's money on a ledger in a completely decentralized way? This is what's happening, and build up the liquidity for said assets that do get tokenized on the ledger. This is what's happening right now in the XRP community. So I wanted to bring this update to you guys here. We got statements from the Vice President, JD Vance, at the Bitcoin conference. Take a listen in on this one as we get started here.
Here today to say loud and clear, with President Trump, crypto finally has a champion and an ally in the White House.
We definitely have a champion for crypto in the White House and this administration moving forward. Let's continue on. This is Vice President JD Vance saying that they're going to fire every single regulator like Gary Gensler. We're getting them out of here. Let's go.
Eliminating the rules, the red tape, and the lawfare that we saw aimed at crypto by our predecessors. We're ending the weaponization of federal regulations against this community. To put it simply, Operation Choke Point 2.0 is dead, and it's not coming back under the Trump administration. And by the way, it's crazy that was ever even controversial, the idea of using the regulatory power of the government to crush an industry and to crush people who espoused a view that you didn't like. It's crazy. But let my words today serve as Operation Choke Point. Let me serve as its obituary. Now this is my vow to every single person here. You will never see this administration trying to handicap your community or diminish the impact it's had on the economy. Instead, we reject the Biden administration's legacy of death by 1,000 enforcement actions. We reject regulators. Maybe the most important thing that we did for this community, we reject regulators and we fired Gary Gensler, and we're going to fire everybody like him.
Get him out of here. Get him out of here. You're fired. And I want to bring it back to that first statement where he says, with President Trump, crypto finally has a champion and ally in the White House. Not Bitcoin. So I know the Bitcoin bros were very excited to have Vice President Vance come up there and pump up Bitcoin. And he did. He said that there's 50 million people in Bitcoin and crypto now. That's going to go to 100 million. Fantastic. Rosie Rios yesterday, she said that Bitcoin is here to stay and that the train has left the station. Again, you've heard her say that a few times now. But what the Bitcoin bros might not know is that she's still on the board of directors at Ripple. And she is on record as saying that XRP is one of the few or only digital assets with real world utility. And JD Vance echoing that statement by saying with President Trump, crypto finally has a champion and ally in the White House, not just Bitcoin. So, hey, we're rooting for Bitcoin. Sure. Pump it up to 1 million, wherever Michael Saylor's going to. I told myself I wasn't going to make any digs at the Bitcoin community. I was just going to stick to, letting JD Vance's clips play out. I wasn't going to dig on the Bitcoin community, so that's what I'm going to do. To $1 million, sure. Have fun. But the point being, we are being completely legitimatized. This is the golden age where you combine the old world, God's money, right? Real commodities, real value, an asset-backed system is now coming to fruition on a level playing field done through distributed ledger technology like the XRP ledger. And it is here to stay. Just like Rosie Rio said, the train has left the station. Now, I'm not going to dig into what this symbol means with Ripple, which actually, this was actually funded by Chris Larson, who gives the skull of Satoshi. That would be the skull of Satoshi, which was originally built to call attention to blockchain energy usage. And today, it's a symbol and reminder of Bitcoin's incredible staying power to many around the world, including me. This is a statement from Brad Garlinghouse. That's right, the bad guy that everybody wants to attack. You know, all the crazy slandering and defamation against Brad Garlinghouse. Yet here he is, still defending Bitcoin, still trying to lift Bitcoin up, right? As crypto and blockchain technologies become widely used, respected, and understood, it's past time that we set aside our differences and work together to move the industry forward. Gee, what an idea. I hope this gesture continues to remind folks that we, Bitcoin, XRP, and other crypto communities have more in common than we think. Now, this is the skull of Satoshi right here. I want to make sure you guys can see that full picture. The skull of Satoshi there. Now, I'm not going to get into the symbolism. I'm not going to get into what it could mean or couldn't mean. I'll leave that to you guys in the comments down below. But I do find it rather funny that Chris Larson is the one who put this together. And, you know, it's displayed at the Bitcoin conference now, and then it's going to be set up at the Bitcoin Museum in Nashville. Nashville, Tennessee is where it's going to be its new home. Okay? You guys let me know what you think about that. You know, the Ripple Riddlers, you know the symbolism. I'll leave it to you guys in the comments down below. The SEC is officially reviewing WisdomTree's proposed spot XRP ETF and is now accepting public comments. Another XRP spot ETF on the way. Now, it's likely that these aren't going to be passed and approved until Q3, July, August, September, final deadlines in October, but it is inevitable. The ETFs will go live. The SEC versus Ripple case will come to an end. XRP will go to an all-time high. And today, I'm not even really focused too much on the price action because I already told you guys that I was expecting the market to come back down. It's coming back down. And so don't cry in the comments. Just, you know, if you want to say, hey, you were right, the market is rolling back over while this Bitcoin conference is taking place, then you can do that. But don't waste your time crying in the comments about price coming back down today. That's not what we're focused on, okay? And what we are focused on is positioning ourselves before the inevitable. Like I said, this case does come to an end eventually. 20 days, 30 days, 60 days. Your guess is as good as mine at this point. The ETFs will go live this year, guaranteed 100%. And XRP will go to an all-time high. I'm willing to guarantee that 100%. Maybe some people aren't. I am. It will happen. And I position myself, and many in our community have positioned themselves for that moment in time, which is coming soon. U.S. Labor Department rescinds 2022 guidance that warned fiduciaries against including crypto in 401k plans. So not only will they have, you know, full discretion to basically advise people to go into crypto, but now we're preparing the XRP products that will bring even more exposure to XRP, right? All of this guidance that came from the Labor Department, that came from the IRS, that came from all these other regulatory bodies, like JD Vance was saying today. You had the likes of Gary Gensler at the head. You had, you know, basically the head of this beast system, and I call it the bureaucracy beast, right? And it's a multi-headed snake, right? Where you got the SEC, you had the Labor Department. I mean, you have all these different departments which are coming in and commented and did their part to continue Operation Choke Point 2.0, right? This wasn't just the SEC. And so I love the approach here of cutting the red tape, cutting the regulation. Anybody that stands in the way of moving America forward into the golden age is gone, completely gone. And it shouldn't be just America moving into the golden age either, right? We want to lead this effort, but this is a worldwide movement towards a level playing field. We're all in this together. Now, I wanted to give you guys a heads up here. Joey Wallet has submitted to the app stores. They are waiting for approval. They've submitted it on Apple and Android. This is the new wallet that's coming to the XRP ledger. The team that brought us XRP Cafe, the biggest NFT marketplace on the XRP ledger. Same team that brought us the first Ledger platform where you can launch tokens, create a meme token if you want, or you can just use it as a platform for trading on the XRP Ledger DEX. This is the same team that's now going to be rolling out the Joey wallet. And why is this so important? One, because we needed more wallets within our ecosystem. We need a little bit more healthy competition. We just had Zaman. And so now we're getting some more options here. But the key that they're focusing on is the ease and seamless onboarding experience. This is the wallet that's going to take us from 6 million wallets to 10, 20, and 50 million wallets over the next couple years here. And mark my words, this wallet, in my opinion, is going to be a big part of at least taking us to 10 or 20 million XRP wallet addresses in the next couple years, because they're focused on making it a seamless experience for onboarding new people onto the XRP ledger. Very excited about this. And yes, I do hold the little meme token, the Joey token, which has no relation to this company, no relation to the Joey wallet. It's just a silly, stupid meme on the XRP ledger. But yes, I am expecting it to have a little bit of action might be taking place over there. Not financial advice, not a signal. Know your limit, play within it, whether you're gambling on an XRP meme coin or whether I see you in XRP Las Vegas this weekend. Know your limit, play within it. Okay. Now, XRP ushers in the golden age. Why did I title this video this? Because we see Ripple continuing to fight for our entire industry. Just like Brad Garlinghouse reiterated his comments on the skull of Satoshi, what that represents for the staying power of Bitcoin and crypto in our broader industry. Now we look at Stuart Alderati submitting an additional letter to the SEC's crypto task force addressing a key question from Commissioner Pierce's new paradigm speech. When does a digital asset separate from an investment contract? Well, we had a little bit of precedent. We had a little bit of a standard. We might have a new Ripple test that can be applied when we got that historical ruling from Judge Torres, July 13, 2023. And we got the quick summary right here. Quote, in short, it would be inappropriate to impose new securities laws obligations such as registration or disclosure on tokens and networks that have operated and traded in broad liquid markets openly, transparently, and permissionlessly for a significant time. These assets have been integrated into the financial system, are broadly held, and no longer pose the risks that animate the SEC's concerns. So that's basically the conclusion. But in this letter, Stuart Alderati cites the ruling from Judge Torres, where she laid it out as a matter of law, which still stands today, despite what some fake news outlets try to say, or other folks try to say about, we don't have clarity for XRP yet. We absolutely do. And this can be applied more broadly to the rest of the ecosystem, to assets that have already been distributed, that are already permissionlessly traded. They're already liquid. They're already out there. They are separate from basically an investment contract, right? The token in and of itself is not the security, is not the investment contract. And that was basically set as a matter of law in the Ripple case. Now, how does this bring in the golden age? Because it shows that XRP is not a security. What is it? It's a neutral bridge currency. It's a virtual currency. Some treat it as a reserve currency, but it's the native bridge currency of the XRP ledger, a ledger that's main focus is liquidity. Now, on the XRP ledger, we're starting to see real-world assets like ROUSD, additional stablecoins from other countries, other jurisdictions, so the Brazilian real, the Euro stablecoin. Here soon, I think that we're going to see every stablecoin, every CBDC around the world will be tokenized on the XRP ledger. And so and we're also talking about real world assets like gold, silver, and real commodities. How do you achieve an asset-backed system? Well, you need rails of the system that are decentralized, permissionless, and open and public for everybody to contribute and take from. And that's what the XRP ledger does. Has a DEX, had the first DEX over 10 years ago. Our DEX got better, more efficient when we brought in the AMM. And we've only had our AMM for about a year, but it's brought in on the layer one, completely decentralized. There's no middleman between you and the XRP ledger. You can be your own bank, store your own crypto, and then you can interact with the XRP ledger without any middleman getting in the middle, taking a fee of your business. This is why I say XRP is helping to usher in the golden age. When you listen to JD Vance's talking points there in his speech, where he's citing the death by 1,000 cuts of enforcement actions, that's basically a direct talking point from Ripple. I mean, how many times have you heard Brad and Stu cite that exact line? Right? And before level playing field was such a common term, right? Who was the first ones that brought that up? Before the internet of value was such a common term, who were the ones that brought that up? It all goes back to Ripple. And what we have right now is Ripple working with the United States government to issue a US dollar derivative in the form of RLUSD on the XRP ledger. As President Trump cited at Bitcoin conference last year, it's going to be stable coins, which will be key to expanding US dollar dominance. This is why I say that Ripple's already working with our government. We don't need an official partnership. I don't need to read a headline on mainstream media that tells me that Ripple's working with our government. No, the act of tokenizing a dollar derivative on our ledger is expanding US dollar dominance and, by definition, helping the United States government. That's already happening. Now, could that partnership go a lot further? Oh, absolutely. And so what we have to look at and understand right now, XRP is not going away. I know some people want to see it pump today. Some people are so hyper focused on price that they miss that the path does take us to all-time highs. The path does take us well into double digits. The path does take us probably eventually even to 3 digits and beyond. I'm talking about $100 XRP plus. Does it come in today, tomorrow, this month, this year? Probably not. But the path and the direction, the trajectory of this asset leading the entire sector, setting the precedent and the standard for this entire industry, cannot be argued. That is a fact. It is a matter of law. And it fully gets realized, and it will lead to that price action that you guys all want. But the masses are going to be late because they're waiting for the SEC versus Ripple case to officially come to an end. We need a mainstream media talking head pundit to tell me that it's officially over before I make my bet. I need to see the ETFs go live officially before I make my bet. And that's why that crowd never hits it out of the park. That's why that crowd never wins in any major way. Versus our community, which has taken that risk, investing in an asset that was being attacked, an asset that was literally lied about, fought against for its entire existence, essentially, but nobody was able to stop us, and nobody will be able to stop us as far as where we're going. Only a few of us see it. Relatively speaking, a few million people own XRP. Think about that for a second. Literally only a few people understand that it's XRP helping to usher in the golden age, not just for crypto, but I'm talking about for America and really for the world. Because it's not only to the benefit of the United States that we get a dollar derivative on the ledger, it's to the benefit of every other country to get their stablecoin on the XRP ledger. Whether they partner up with Ripple, whether they rely on an institution that's already in their country, or whether it's central banks, which have decided to come work with Ripple, whether it's Dubai Land Registry, Land Department, which is now tokenizing real estate deeds on the XRP ledger. It's in their best interest to do so. So if you want to join the golden age with us, you get on the XRP ledger and you follow in the footsteps here of what America and a few other countries are doing as well. Now, we were behind. Now we're finally catching up to speed, right? Now, quick look at the markets here as we end this show real quick. Back down to 107,777 for Bitcoin. XRP back down to 225. This pullback was expected. As I said, I was expecting the market to roll back over during or after the Bitcoin conference, just like we did last year. Looks like that's playing out. Not a problem. Like I said, stay liquid, stay ready, and let's go have ourselves a fantastic time at XRP Las Vegas. Help me out by liking this video, sharing it out far and wide, and everything is at ZachRector.com. God bless you all. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.